Okay, so this is called the constructor, all right? So we've learned about the string, and again, it's built in, so this is another way. Now with scanner, what did we need to do? Before we can use scanner, Armand, what do we have to do?
You have to import it.
What was the name of the thing that we have to import from? Do you remember the full signature?
Import java.util.scanner.
Bingo. And Benny, if I wanted to import just everything in the utilities folder, what do I use instead?
An asterisk instead of scanner.
Bingo. And is it okay to just go ahead and use the asterisk?
Yeah.
Yeah, bingo. Good. So we did scanner, we did another one. So now what we're learning today is we are learning the math class. So the cool thing about the math class, you guys have kind of had an experience with this when you did Python, for those of you who had me last year. What the creators of Java and what most programming languages do is they pre-program a lot of advanced mathematical functions into the language. Now in C++, you have to import it. In Python, you have to import it. But in Java, it works a different way, okay? I can say sysout math.abs -16. Okay, what do you think abs is short for, Vasily? Do you think when I run this, the computer is going to lift up its shirt and flex?
No.
Okay.
Absolute value.
Absolute value. Okay. So what will this print out?
It would print out +16.
Solid. Bingo. So notice, what did I not have to do, Leo?
You know how to create a variable?
Close. It's not a variable. Who can help him out? Starts with an O.
You didn't have to.
You'd have to create an object.
Bingo. I don't have to create an object. Now, the math class is what we call static. You need to know this term. Okay, static. What static means is you can use the class and the methods without making an object out of it. Okay, you can make, I don't know what my C button is. An object from. So with static, you can just go ahead. The way that a static class works is you say the name of the class, and then you use the dot operator. Now, if you take a look, and I say math dot, there is a ton of methods. You don't need to know all of them. You're just going to need to know some of the more common ones, okay? Now, I'm going to stop sharing here, and if we go here, where is it? Where is it? Okay, so let's take a look. Don't laugh at my PowerPoint. Okay, all right, so here's my PowerPoint. Okay, so, all right, we use a dot operator. Again, it's called a static method, but let's take a look at the signatures of methods, okay? In this slide that you're looking at right here, you're looking at a few of the methods, okay? Now let's take a look at this first two. Do you know how this says int abs and int x, double abs, double x? This int basically tells you what type of number is going to be spit back. So for example, index of, what type of parameter does index of take? Who remembers? Kennedy, what type of parameter does index of take?
It takes in a string variable or a literal.
Bingo. And what does it spit out?
The index of spits out an int.
Bingo. So if we were to look at the name, let's say we opened up the string class and we looked at the name of index of, you would see it. It would say int index of string x, meaning that it takes a string or a literal, but this right here tells you what it's going to spit back. So let's in particular look at this. So this is probably the only frustrating part when I use a PowerPoint, guys, so I'm sorry about this. This is the only frustrating part in that I have to switch back and forth. So my apologies. If we were in class, it would be a little bit easier. So please bear with me a little bit if I'm switching back and forth. So abs, okay, math.abs, and I say -16. What is this gonna print out?
16.
Bingo. But take a look what happens if I do 16.0. It works. Certain methods have a method that works for both ints and for doubles. So we're gonna take a look real quick. Those are, if we take a look right here, if we take specifically a look at abs, int x, double x. Notice that they're both the same name, right? So what happens is, depending on the number that you put in, if the number is an int, it will run this method. If the number is a double, it will run this method. If where is it? If the methods have the same name but different parameters, don't worry about what it returns. Do not worry what it spits back. If a method has the same name but different parameters, it is what we call an overloaded method. This is actually a term, guys, that we use all the time in the field. There's a lot of times where, like when I was younger and I was programming, I was in charge of a couple of programs, they'd be like, you know what? Overload that one method, but have it take in this object parameter. You know what? Create 3 overloads of this method or function, and I want you to change the parameters to this, this, and this. Overloading is used all the time, okay? So it's same name, different parameters, okay? Now, this is where I will try to trick you. You see how the top two, it says int abs, int x, and this says double abs, double x. Do you see those top two? You see the first words, int and double, okay? If I give int abs, int x, and double abs, int x, guess what? That is not an overloaded method. You will get an error. They don't care what it spits back. All that matters is the name and the parameter. Let's say it's int abs, int x, and int abs, int x, comma, int x. It's completely different. The second one has 2 parameters. That's what matters. I will go after you on that. I'm telling you right now, you're gonna have a quiz question on that, okay? So let's go down the list. So take a look, double pow. What do you think pow does?
Raise something to the power of.
Exactly, the first number is the base, the second number is an exponent. Is this an overloaded method?
No.
No, it can accept ints and doubles, it can accept any type of number, but it will always return a double. We don't need, or SQRT, what do you think that is short for?
Square root.
Square root. Vasily, overloaded or not?
No.
Bingo, just returns a what?
Just returns a double.
And does it make sense to return a double?
Yeah.
Yeah, because more often than not, are we always going to hit a perfect square?
Yeah,
No.
you. Or actually, maybe one.
Yeah, more often than not, you won't hit a perfect square. Considering there's 10 in the first 100 numbers, no. Okay. So, what's it called? So double SQRT, double. We don't need to know ceiling floor. You will actually use min and max, but they're very. Notice, is min and max an overloaded method, Kennedy?
No.
Take a look again.
Min, max. Yeah.
It is, because take a look. I have
Right.
double min max that takes doubles, and I have int min max that takes ints.
Oh, I didn't see that. No.
Yeah. Yes. So I have those min and max are overloaded, so that you have one that will. Now here's the thing. Let's say the first number is an int and the second number is a double. It's always going to run the double. Double takes precedence. Okay? If both are ints, it's going to run the int one. And ISIS, if I min and I have two numbers, what do you think it's going to spit back?
The smaller one,
And if I have max and I have two numbers, what do you think it's going to spit back?
the bigger one.
Be easy, right? And believe it or not, you will use this often. Okay? Double random. Double random. This gives you a random number between 0 and 1, inclusive of 0, exclusive of 1, meaning Allie girl, what's the highest possible number that I can get?
I'm not
Alright.
sure.
So if it's to 0 to 1, exclusive of 1, what's the highest number, theoretically?
Exclusive of one?
Exclusive of 1.
0?
No, so it's 0 to 1. In that range, what's the highest number that I could get?
9.9 repeating.
Exactly, 0.9 repeating, 0.99999 infinitely. Okay, so you'll never hit 1. Random, by the way, we will use a lot. Okay, you will use random a lot. Believe it or not, getting a random number in Java is easy. Okay, rounding. Notice with rounding takes any number. If you see a double in the parameter, always know, you'll read this in chapter 5, that it will take ints and doubles. Okay? It does not print out, or it does not return any decimal. It gives you a long. Does long have decimals? Hint, hint, this is a quiz question. I will go after you on this one. Okay? And pi. Okay, pi. All right? What type of method is pi?
Isn't it a final variable? Not a method.
Very, very good. It is not a method at all. How do I know something's not a method?
Because there's no parameters or parentheses.
Here, Nick, solid. Very good. No parameters. If something has parentheses, we know those are where parameters go. If there's no parentheses, it's a variable. Now, double pi is what we call a final variable. It is a variable that Java initialized. You can make final variables also, but this is one that's built into Java. You will use their version of pi, and you cannot override it. Final variables are usually all capitalized. Can you make final variables lowercase? But it's like the naming convention. It's like an accepted standard that final variables are all capitalized. So for example, okay, if I wanted to find the base of the exponent, so 42.01 to the 3.728 power, math.pow b to e. Okay, if I wanted to find the square root, math.sqrt x. I want you also to be very, very close attention. Is math capitalized? I will mark you off if you do not capitalize math. Okay?
Math
I'll
just
take off half a point instantly. Huh?
what does math actually do? It just starts anything.
Math, so you know how string is a class, and inside those string class, there's all those methods, index of, length, uppercase, lowercase.
Yeah.
Math is also a class that has all these math methods, but it's what we call a static class. We don't have to make an object to use it. We just have to start off by referencing the name of where they're located, using the dot operator, and which method we want.
So is it permanent though? It's not permanent, right?
That's permanent.
No. So like if you do it in a system.out.print, it will save B and E. It won't. No. I'm sorry. That's wrong.
I have no idea what you're trying to say.
Can I save what happens? Like if I say math.pow and then I do parameters B and E, can I save that in a variable?
Absolutely can. Yeah, because it's going to spit back a number, and the variable's storing that answer. 100%. That happens all the time. We'll go over that in the example too, Nick. So if you want to see that, let me know, okay?
Okay.
Don't need to worry about ceiling or floor. Don't even look at it, guys, okay? This is just an example that you can do logs. Here's min. Here's max, okay? Here's rounding. Notice that in rounding, it does not round to a decimal. The decimal is off. Is this an int? ISIS, yes or no?
Yes.
No, it's not. Kennedy, what is it?
It's a long.
Long. Okay. Okay. But here's the thing. Benny, will that ever be on the AP?
No, because AP only has int, string, and double.
Very good. Nice. Very good, Benny. Great answer. Okay. That's exactly right. So this one right here is an example of a whole bunch of other methods that are available. And you will actually need to use these for your homework. But what I want to do real quick is I want to show you guys some stuff. Okay. So let's say I wanted to find the square root of the absolute value of 5 to the second power, okay, of 5 squared. So I wanted to find the square root of the absolute value of 5 squared, okay? Work your way inside out. The first one I would do is math.pow. That gives me what? What's 5 squared?
25.
And then I find the absolute value, which is?
25.
25.
Okay, and then I find the square root, which is?
5.
5.
Wrong.
And negative 5.
5.0. 5 is not the same as 5.0. On your test, not on your quiz, you will have a question like this. 5 will be an answer. 5.0 will also be an answer.
Wait, so it comes out from the POW, it comes out as a double?
So .pow right off the bat, remember, in math, this pow spits back a double, which means the absolute value is going to run the double method, okay? And then its square root always returns a double. So always look at the last one, okay? Always look at the last one, all right? But even if I didn't, so let's just say I just did this, 16, okay? Now this is gonna run the int abs method, but what do we know square root returns?
No.
A double. So it's gonna be 4.0.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, take a look at this. All right, so I'm gonna say string name equals Marty. String name equals Marty, okay? Now, take a look. This is perfectly legal. Okay. System.out.println, let me move it over a bit, okay? Math.sqrt, math.out.pow 5, name.length minus 3. Is this legal?
Yeah,
Why? What does it return?
a number.
A number, an int, right?
Yep.
And what does pow use? 2 numbers, right?
Yep.
Okay. What if I did this? Legal?
Yes.
Why? What does it return?
In
Very good. What about this?
No.
no.
No. Okay. No, it does not. All right. And the reason why?
Because it spits out a character.
Bingo. It's a character. Okay. Does POW use a character variable?
No.
Nope.
No. So the thing that I need you guys to remember is to keep in mind is, and you guys have been doing a great job of this. Like I said, on the multiple choice, I was very happy to see how well you guys did. Those were AP questions. So if I run this, by the way, I get 5.0, okay? Because name.length 5 minus 3 is 2, 5 squared is 25, absolute value of 25 is 25, square root of 25 is 5.0. You need to get into the habit of starting to use methods inside parameters. Your homework is at the end of chapter 6. Okay? Your homework is this right here, okay? D1 equals 3 times pi times sine. Now remember, they're 3 pi sine 187 degrees plus the absolute value of the cosine of 122 degrees. Remember that the arguments of sine and cosine must be in radians. You will need to use these in order to finish this assignment. All that should print out is this. Now, this can be done in 2 lines of code or 4. That's it. Okay? So in other words, what I'm saying is you could concatenate this and write out everything, or you could store this in variables. That I leave to you, either one is fine, but this should be no more than 4 lines of code, okay? Now, you're gonna, obviously as you can see, remember that the arguments of sine must be in radians. This is degrees. There is a math.2 radians method, hint, hint, okay? Now this will be online in about 10 or 15 minutes, but more importantly, I want you guys to enjoy your weekend. I don't want you guys to go crazy on this. Your quiz, you will need, okay, I'm also, by the way, just giving you a heads up, I do want you to enjoy your weekend. This isn't gonna be due until 10 a.m. Monday, okay? So you guys enjoy your weekend, but again, still brush up. Your quiz is gonna be on chapters 5, 6, and 7. I anticipate it being about 6 questions on wrapper classes, on math methods, and on the use of user input. They will be, now giving you a heads up, there'll be multiple choice questions. They're not gonna be short answer questions. All will be multiple choice. And I'm gonna try to stick to that trend for quizzes, okay? You're at the latest, your test should be graded tonight, hopefully barring any unforeseen circumstance. Monday and Tuesday, if need be, you will get invites from me to spend 10 minutes, and that, depending on what score you got, and that will allow you to make up any points. I can tell you this, your scores already, based on the multiple choice, look better than what the other class was. Not saying that it's a competition, and there wasn't enough time for you guys to even collaborate or anything like that, but I was very happy with the overall multiple choice scores that I saw. So good job for you guys, okay? And again, you will also get your reports. So I had one last student who needed to take it. He finally took it, so that's why I waited to grade everything. So he took it, but you will also get a PDF of your test with like any of the feedback that I have. My request to you is, guys, I bust my ass making these tests original, okay? And I spend hours actually writing these tests because I love this class. Don't share this with anyone. Keep it in your self records. Literally keep it in a folder and keep it to study for the AP. Keep it to study for the midterm, things like that. But do not share it with anybody. That's my only request, okay? All right, yeah, Kennedy.
Can you email us or post that PowerPoint so we have all the functions?
So here's the thing. I will happily send this to you guys. I'm going to send it to both classes in just a minute. I'll happily send it, but just know that this is basically like a regurgitation of the book. The screenshots come from the book, but if this helps you, then absolutely I'm going to share it with you. And I'll send that as soon as class is over. Okay? So math class, wrapper classes, understanding that ints can go into doubles and data overflow, you should know. That's chapter 5. Know it. Anybody have any questions? Your next test looks like it's going to be September 22nd. So after next week, okay? We'll go more into user input. We'll solidify. Probably next class, we're just going to do 2 programs together just to start getting into the habit of writing a program, okay? And then just go from there. All right, guys, great class so far. Really, God, a lot of you students, I really wish we were in person, but I think you guys saw the LA Times article that